Local flood insurance rates could be changing for many Low Country homeowners. It's all part of the Biggert Waters Flood Insurance Reform Act of 2012. Alan Wheeler is here with our Ask Alan Anything segment. And Alan, this is information that is crucial for homeowners here in our area. Can you tell us a little bit about that bill and what it's going to mean for people here?
Sure, John. Just first, my sponsor, Buck Lumber Company, great product, great service, 911 Maybank Road in Charleston.
Sure.
There's a bill that was passed in 2012, the Biggert Waters Flood Insurance Reform Act. And it was passed because when we had Hurricane Katrina, Ike, and Sandy, they basically bankrupt FEMA. That's our federal agency, and they're $30 billion in debt.
Still to this day?
Yes.
Wow.
And so they passed this bill to fund back that money, plus probably another $30 to $50 billion for what might come up. So this funding from this bill is for the through 2017.
Okay.
So a lot of money involved.
Yeah. And they're getting that money through changing flood insurance regulations?
Right, right. Rates have changed, and Charleston County has told me 100,000 properties in this area are going to be affected, sooner or later. Not everyone immediately, but in the long run, all the rates will come up a little more, a little less.
Wow, so you got to start preparing for that now. And Alan, what can you do to prepare for that? You say you got a couple tips that you gave us before the broadcast here, and the first one is learn your flood zone.
Right. If you think you live in a flood zone, aren't sure, you can go to Google FEMA. They have flood maps, or you can call your insurance agent. But there's Zone A, V, and X, more or less. V is pretty much the coast with waves up to 3 feet. A is more where water will surge up. And then X is like the 100-year flood situation. So that would be the first thing, is to determine, if you're in a flood zone.
And if you're here in the Low Country, there's a reason they call it the Low Country, because chances are you're probably going to get some of that flooding.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the next step is if you have an elevation certificate, it probably means you've had a policy change or upgrade. But if you don't have one, then you really need to check that out, because when you say zone like AE, it's going to say 8 or 10 or 12 or 14, which is a base flood elevation measurement, where your floor is relative to where a flood could come in. And if you are below flood level, your rates could go up significantly.
Sure.
If you're at the base flood, a little better, but freeboard is 2 feet above or more, and then you get the best rates.
So what's the best way to kind of protect yourself and make sure you take into account that this cost might change?
I would say first thing is just do a little bit of homework that I mentioned about your flood zone. Call your agent. He has new tables with new rates. He's the only one that'll be able to kind of figure this out for what it might be. But if you have a primary residence, if you're not selling your house, there's a good chance rates won't change. But if you're got a rental property in the Charleston area and it's not your primary residence, then rates can go up 25% per year to full value.
Well, obviously you got to make sure you plan for these things, and that's where you come in right now with Coastal Builders. You guys can take some steps. We can't obviously push back that 100-year flood, but there are some steps you can take building-wise to mitigate those floodwaters.
Well, yes. After you've maybe gotten your rates, I had a call recently, 2 homeowners, James Island, both flood zone. Did not have elevation certificates initially. Got those, and one was 3 feet above, so the addition they wanted to do, no problem. Another was 2 feet below, but based on the elevation and their circumstance, they were still able to build their addition.
Absolutely. Alan, we got about a minute left, and the fifth thing you said here was manage your risk.
Managing risk is, for instance, if you have a policy, make sure that it doesn't lapse. If it lapses and you need to reinstate immediately, you go to full actuarial value. So if you were paying $800, it could be $4,000.
Yeah. All right. Well, great tips right there. If you have any question for Alan, doesn't matter if it's from the ceiling down to the floor, about flooding, about anything. Call that number right there. Check out that website. You can ask your question to Alan, and we will answer it right here live on the air on Low Country Live. Alan, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Great tips as always.
Thanks, John.
All right, we'll be right back with Low Country Live after this break. Make sure you stick around.